Dear boomers! A lot of people on YouTube and online in general are afraid to talk about politics because they think it interferes with their personal brand. So they remain silent or they, start to unsubscribe because I have spoken about politics. But in reality, I think our democracy is a boomer. We can, as a boomer interest, as boomers, we have a legacy to leave behind us, and part of that is by discussing the important things about democracy and how we can implement some of the things that I will tell you about. I have gathered 100 ways that we can every day do a little something to strengthen our democracy. And that is what I'm going to talk about today. First of all, vote in every election, whether it's local or presidential. Vote in all of that. And that actually makes your voice heard. Encourage other people to vote and get them registered to vote, especially those who might feel disenfranchised. That may require a door-to-door effort. That's called canvassing. Stay informed by reading a variety of news sources, and some of those news sources are biased, so I won't read them. Participate in local government meetings, such as city council or school board sessions. And if I had children, I would have done that. My mother used to go to PTA meetings, and I recall that she did that, even though she was an introvert in some ways, didn't like to leave the house, but she was an extrovert in many other ways, especially when it came to political activism. Volunteer for political campaigns that align with your values. Run for local office to influence change from within. Join or start a community group focused on civic engagement. Support independent journalism by subscribing to reputable news outlets. I love the Midas Touch. I love Harry Sasson. I like Brian Taylor Cohen. I love the whole Midas Touch. They have a lot of different programs on there that are trying to help to promote democracy. Support independent journalism. Engage in civil discourse, even with those who disagree with you. Support free speech while understanding its limits and responsibilities. Write letters to your elected representatives about issues that you care about. Attend peaceful protests to advocate for causes you believe in. Volunteer as a poll worker during an election. And educate yourself about your Constitution and your rights. As I may have mentioned at one point, democracy equals freedom, the rule of law, and free speech, I think. Hold discussion groups on current events and democratic principles. Support organizations that protect civil liberties. That is so important. Donate to causes that work to increase voter turnout. Monitor young people and mentor young people, I should say, on the importance of democracy. Advocate for campaign finance reform to reduce the influence of money in politics. And that has been quite a problem for a number of years. Support transparent government practices and demand accountability. There's a lot of things we can do about that, like the Flint water crisis, like different pollution of our rivers and streams. Protect your online privacy and encourage others to do the same. Be an example of integrity in in your community by standing up for what is right. There is a right and a wrong, after all. Participate in jury duty if called upon. I have done that. Learn about gerrymandering and advocate for fair districting practices. Support public education as a foundation for informed citizenry. Promote diversity and inclusion in all areas of society. Educate yourself on voter suppression tactics and how to combat them. Challenge misinformation and educate others on critical thinking. Attend town hall meetings and ask questions of your representatives. Respect the rule of law. After all, that is what America should stand for, and encourage others to do the same. I think when people ask me, there's certain surveys online that say, if your next door neighbor admitted to you that they participated in the January 6th insurrection, would you report them? Well, as a citizen who values the rule of law, yes, I would. That's amazing, isn't it? Advocate for labor practices, fair labor practices, and support a thriving middle class. Support for housing initiatives to ensure that everybody has a place to live. Encourage civic education in schools to teach the next generation about democracy. Support judicial independence by opposing undue political influence on the courts. Promote environmental protection as a long-term investment in our future. Stand against corruption in all forms, including corporate and political corruption. Foster community dialogue on important issues to bridge divides. Support whistleblowers who expose wrongdoing in government and corporations. Volunteer with nonprofits who advocate for marginalized communities. Promote ethical consumerism by supporting businesses that align with democratic values. Advocate for health care access as a right for all citizens. Support prison reform to ensure fair and just treatment for all. Learn a foreign language to better understand global perspectives. Stay vigilant about the threats to democracy, both foreign and domestic. Engage in international advocacy to support democracy worldwide. Promote transparency in campaign finance and political donations. Speak out against hate speech and bigotry in our community. Educate others about the history of democracy and its challenges. Participate in peaceful civil disobedience when necessary to protect the rights of our citizens. Support independent film and media when that highlights social justice issues. Promote voting by mail and other accessible voting options. Advocate for term limits to prevent career politicians from gaining too much power. The Supreme Court, anybody? Support local businesses as a way to strengthen community ties. Encourage civic participation as a way to strengthen community ties. And encourage civic participation among immigrants and new citizens. Be aware of the impact of your vote on local, state, and national levels. Support science and evidence-based policymaking. Volunteer to teach civics as a way to bring communities together. Advocate for affordable higher education to keep democracy strong. Support efforts to reduce poverty, as economic inequality can threaten democracy. Donate to legal defense funds that protect civil rights. Encourage cross-party dialogue to reduce political polarization. Now, this was a little easier to do back in the day when Republicans were Republicans. Advocate for gun safety laws that protect communities with respecting rights. Promote mental health awareness to ensure all citizens can participate in a democracy. Support infrastructure improvements to sustain strong and connected society. Educate yourself on the Electoral College and advocate for reforms if necessary. And it is necessary. Engage with your community on local and solutions. Promote economic policies that support small businesses and entrepreneurs. Support digital literacy initiatives to protect democracy from cyber threats. Encourage responsible use of social media to prevent the spread of misinformation. Volunteer with disaster relief organizations to help communities in crisis. Support international human rights organizations that promote democracy. Encourage responsible corporate governments that aligns with democratic principles. Advocate for net neutrality to keep the internet free and open. Support public broadcasting as a source of unbiased information. Promote responsible energy policies that balance economic and environmental needs. Support science and technology education to prepare for future challenges. Participate in community cleanup efforts to build civic pride. Advocate for safe and fair elections globally. Promote the importance of the census and fair representation. Engage with your local library as a source for civic education. Support public health initiatives that protect communities. Encourage philanthropy that supports democratic values. Support environmental justice efforts to ensure all communities have a healthy environment. Educate yourself on national security issues and their impact on civil liberties. Promote the separation of powers to prevent abuse of authority. Encourage ethical behavior in business and government. Support for trade practices that promote global economic justice. Advocate for renewable energy policies to protect the planet for future generations. Promote corporate social responsibility in your community. Engage in peaceful dialogue on controversial issues. Support transparency in law enforcement to build trust in the justice system. Encourage others to serve their community through volunteer work. Support universal access to clean water as a basic human right. Advocate for strong antitrust laws to prevent monopolies. Engage with your religious community on issues of social justice. Support arts education as a means of fostering creativity and critical thinking. And live your values daily, modeling democratic principles in your actions and your decisions. By taking even a few of these wonderful steps, you can contribute to the preservation and strengthening of democracy in your community and beyond. Now, of course, you can't do all of these things all at once, but I think if you choose a few of them, they can go a long way to make you feel connected to America, to your neighbors, to everyone that you are involved with. So there should be a video that pops up there. Take a look. And until tomorrow,